Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and what we're going to be doing here is answering all of your questions around the silver and black, whether it's trade rumors, free agency rumors, draft rumors. You want to talk about Derek Carr, Tom Brady, literally whatever you want, I'm here for you. First one's coming in from Tyler M. What up, Tyler? Get Brady in free agency, build the O-line and the defense in the draft and free agency. Also draft Max Duggan late in the draft. I'm going to respectfully decline the whole Max Duggan thing. I'm going to pass on that. If you decide to get Brady, you do have to invest a lot more money in your offensive line because he needs a good offensive line or else it's not going to work. I also crunched the numbers, and because of the money that you're saving from Derek Carr, the Raiders, I believe, are going to be around somewhere between $125 and $129 million in cap space. So they're going to have plenty of cap space to get a lot of players. Now, they got a lot of free agents. They got to bring some guys in. But if you're going to get Brady, you also got to get a young quarterback as well. I just don't think it should be Max Duggan. Let's go to Cutthroat Deuce. Did Stidham play better in that one game of the Niners than Carr the whole season? Stidham and the offense, the Raiders' offense, which I believe is more important, played better. And Stidham's play helped the offensive line, helped the running game. He earned a lot of flowers to me, and I think it's one of the reasons why, you can sit up here and say, Derek wasn't the main problem. I still think the defense is the main problem. But Derek clearly was a problem, and I do think it's better that we are now moving on from the silver and black, especially after you see how petty the whole Carr family has been. Let's go to Cass Joey. Hearing from the team before, after the game doesn't fit, or doesn't it sound like only Adams was genuinely upset DC was benched? Maybe I'm overreading. If you had to bank on it, who's more likely, Jimmy G or Tom Brady? More likely, I'm going to bet on Tom Brady. In terms of genuinely upset, I think everyone was upset that the way Carr was benched, which I still don't think that the Raiders handled it the right way. The issue is, I don't know if there is a right way to handle it because from a business perspective, you can't have Derek Carr around. I mean, if Derek were to hurt himself lifting weights at the Raiders facility, even if he's not playing games, you're on the hook for $32.9 million in 2023 and $7.5 million in 2024. So what the Raiders try to do is say, hey, Derek, we don't want to pay you $40.4 million. We need you to step away. I was told that Derek didn't handle that well. It blew up a little bit more, and now we're in the situation that we're in. I think all Raiders players were upset at the way it was handled, but you also have to understand that was a business decision, and that's what Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler do. They make business decisions. Let's go to Gamer Raider 99. Mitch, do you want the Raiders to trade for Mac Jones? Yikes. I'll be honest, no. I really don't. I think Mac Jones was a really good rookie underneath Josh McDaniels. I believe he was a Pro Bowler, put up some pretty solid numbers, but realistically, no, man. Mac Jones scares the hell out of me. I would rather you stick, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'd rather you stick with Jarrett Stidham on a cheaper contract, which he might be getting closer to Mac Jones. I mean, there's some people out there that think Jarrett Stidham's going to get over $10 million. I don't see that happening. I'm going to believe Stidham's going to be around $6-7 million in the offseason. I'd rather you pay Stidham $6 or $7 million than give up draft capital and go out and get a guy like Mac Jones, because I don't think Mac Jones is your long-term answer. I'm not saying I think Jarrett Stidham's the long-term answer. Me personally, no, I don't want the Raiders to trade for Mac Jones. But how about this, y'all? Y'all let me know. This is what the show's about. Get down in the comments right now, T for trade or P for pass. If you woke up, or maybe before you went to bed, Raiders Report's going live, bang, Raiders traded for Mac Jones, how would you feel? I wouldn't be very happy about it. But then again, it would be pretty par on course for McDaniels and co. T for trade, P for pass, Mac Jones to the silver and black. Let's go to Brandon Jasper. Raiders, guess where I was yesterday? I was tuned into Locals, live show for great content, personal interaction, and I'm going to win this week's Pick'em. Are you, Brandon? Because Week 18 Pick'em, I haven't put that one out yet, and Week 17 there's a tie. So I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, we go live multiple times every single week now on Locals. I've been going live twice a week over there, so if you want to join our community, raidersport.locals.com. Brandon, I salute you. Let's go to the Brother Mace. Why are we not talking about trading for Lance? You can talk about trading for Lance. I'm being 100% with you. I still don't know if the 49ers trade him. I think Brock Purdy has been a great quarterback, but if you're the 49ers, you probably want to hang on to Brock Purdy, and don't you want to kind of see what Trey Lance is? Brock Purdy, to me, is a Honda Civic. He is a very reliable car, and if you put him in the right system with a great defense, you're going to get a reliable car, Honda Civic. But is a Honda Civic going to win you a Super Bowl? I don't know. I believe for the Niners, they believe Trey Lance is a Ferrari. That's why they gave up all the picks for him. So for that reason, you haven't been able to drive the Ferrari yet. It's just been sitting in the garage. Sure, it's needed a few tune-ups. I just really do not believe that they're going to give up on Trey Lance that quickly. Maybe they decide they do. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he's gone to free agency. I believe it's going to be Trey Lance. Brock Purdy's going to be the backup, and you keep Purdy as your backup because of all the injuries Lance has had in his first 2 years. Let's go to another one coming in here from David Gonzalez. What is your take on the last man standing, Amik? Will the Raiders re-sign him? What do you mean by the last man standing? I mean, the last Oakland Raider still on the roster is Cleveland Ferrell, which kind of it's what? Cleveland? I think it's Clee, right? No, that's actually not true. I'm trying to think. I mean, Amik on defense, he could come back. I like Robertson. He's no doubt a spark plug, which I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But overall, if you feel like that you can upgrade on your defense, he's had some ups and his downs. I wouldn't mind, though, if Amik Robertson was back on the Raiders. No doubt about it. All right, y'all. Today's show presented by Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. It's going to be a free app that saves you potentially up to hundreds per year, and I want to tell you how easy it is to use. So you view all your subscriptions on one screen. You can stay on top of your upcoming bills, and it lets you cancel unwanted subscriptions for you. So realistically, if you want to see how much you're spending on shopping per year, you can do that. You want to see how much money you're spending on food, takeout, you can do that. You want to see how much money you're spending on medical, housing. I mean, it puts all of that in one spot for you. So what I want you to do is get started today. Go to rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. Seriously, it could save you hundreds. That's rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. I couldn't believe how much money I spent on Chuck. If you don't know who Chuck is, Chuck's my dog. It even breaks it down with pets. Like, you can see how much money you're spending. And for me, I've been trying to save up for a house, so I've been really nitpicky about what the heck I spend my money on. I saw how much money I spend on Chuck. I'm like, bro, you got to start pulling your weight around here. rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. Also, I'm realizing Amik Robertson, he's on the team in 2023. I was going to say, I didn't think he was going to be a free agent. He's a free agent in 2024. Let's go to Koopa Troopa. Mitch, if you were Carr, where would you play next year? I mean, if I was DC, the honest-to-God place I would try to go, I would want to play somewhere warm. I'd want to try to play on a team that's got a halfway decent defense, and I'd want to try to play in a weak division. That way, I can finally try to get to the playoffs. So the NFC South, to me, is the division that's probably the most wide open. If Tom Brady leaves the Buccaneers, that team makes sense. The New Orleans Saints, that's inside a dome. He can also rejoin Dennis Allen, the coach that drafted him, in the dome with a good defense there. Carolina's always super aggressive. I don't believe he goes to Atlanta. But the NFC South, if I was Carr, would probably be where I would end up going. Let's go to Joel. What up, Joel? Do you think Josh McDaniels will bring in Brian Flores? It's interesting to think about. I mean, Flores, to me, is a coach that obviously has a lot of experience with New England, currently right now at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, if you brought him in, it could be an upgrade. The other day I was sitting down and I was thinking, like, all right, who could be somebody that the Raiders potentially bring in? Don't sleep on this idea. If Bill Belichick is actually thinking about hanging up the cleats, hanging up the hoodie, what about Matt Patricia, who was an incredible DC? You bring Matt Patricia over to the Raiders because Patricia sucks as an offensive coordinator. He was not a good head coach, but he was an incredible defensive-minded guy. I'm just saying, Matt Patricia is a sneaky, sneaky name for another coach out there with a big name that could join the Raiders, especially if he thinks Bill Belichick is leaving and he's not going to get the head coaching job there. Let's go to Raider Fan Goat. When will you do a mock draft for the Raiders after the season? I will do a mock draft after the year once I know exactly where the Raiders' draft spot is. I try not to do them during the regular season because I know for basically 2 months of my life, I'm going to do a mock draft almost every single week. I like doing mocks. I also want to be able to do some more homework on players because during the season, concentration is not on the draft yet. I do start looking at guys, but to really do a mock draft with all the Raiders picks, I usually wait until after the season. Let's go to Brandon. Gonzalez, best tight end, third all-time receptions, dominant. I mean, Tony Gonzalez was dominant. And you do it when you look at numbers, you do have to consider the different generations. I do think, though, from a dominant standpoint, Gronk at his peak, I don't know if there was anybody more dominant than Gronk. And I could even make the argument, Travis Kelce, the numbers he's put up and the consistency that he's put up, Tony Gonzalez, I don't know, man. Zornell, F. Tom Brady, and we'll never forget the tuck rule. So, Zornell, you're telling me right now, the Raiders win a Super Bowl. You don't forget the tuck rule. I get it. It sucked. It hurt. It's not great. But you're telling me Tom Brady leads this team to a Super Bowl. You're not going to cheer? Come on, Zornell. Let's go to Angel. I think Lamar 8. Did we discuss Miller getting whooped? I'm late. All right, I don't know if you're talking about Lamar Jackson. Did we discuss Miller getting whooped? Today, no. Have we talked about it before? Yes. I mean, there was a viral video on that Raiders 4th down and 1 where, I forget who it was, the nose tackle for San Francisco, just Armstead whooped, and I mean absolutely whooped Colt Miller, threw him on the ground. Raiders don't get a touchdown. And then, realistically, there's going to be the Carr people out there like, oh, Stidham threw 2 interceptions. He did. But also, when you watch the film, you're like, Nick Bosa drove Colt Miller back so far and into Stidham, which that caused the interception, which then led for the Niners getting that game-winning field goal. Colt Miller has been a disappointment this season. I mean, he's still your best offensive lineman going forward, but the trajectory, he was not very good whatsoever in 2018 due to injuries. Got better in 2019, got better in 2020, got pretty damn good in 2021. You were hoping that he would turn into a no-doubt top 10, top 5 offensive tackle in the league, and he's probably gone back down to where he was in 2020. If you want to join the Raiders Report family, hit that subscribe button for more free Raiders videos. Turn on your notifications. That way, if any news happens, you don't miss a thing. And I want to give a shout-out to our Noti gang. Our Noti gang is the people who I know got that notification bell on and take a lot of pride. Take a lot of pride in trying to be the people that comment first on a video. So, this is from January 2nd. Major shout-out to Mario De La Torre, Terry Nelson, Anthony, Zach, and Jordan. Thank you for being part of the Noti Gang. Thank you all for being real ones. And if you want to shout out on a future Raiders Report show, turn on your notifications. Let's go to Michael. What would the cap hit be if Carr retires realistically? What could the Raiders get for him in a trade? I mean, if Carr decides to retire, from what I understand, I mean, all it is, I believe, is just a $5 million dead cap hit against the Raiders. But if you're DC, you want to get paid. I mean, when you hear David Carr talking as much as he's been, Derek was upset because he still feels like he can start. So the reason why he wants to get traded, the reason why he's going to waive his no-trade clause, the reason why I'm guaranteeing you that Derek Carr gets traded is because if a team trades for him, they got to pay him. And he's going to get $34 million, and it's the exact same contract that the Raiders gave him. Sure, there's no guarantees, but if DC decides to retire, he's not going to make millions and millions of dollars. Derek will get traded, and realistically, I don't think you're going to get a first-round pick for him. Maybe a team decides to do it. Second, third rounder, I think, is realistically what you're hooking for, and that's at the absolute max. Let's go to Dixo Solid Dixon. What do you think about the quarterback from Tennessee? I like Malik Hooker. Malik Hooker. He's a good quarterback prospect. The issue is this. He tore his ACL. He's 24, maybe 25 years old. He's not going to be able to play realistically all year because he tore the ACL late. So you're telling me you're going to draft a kid. He's probably going to go in the 3rd or 4th round. He probably would have went early 2nd round because he was having a good year. It was one of the Heisman favorites before suffering the injury and having a big loss to, I believe it was Alabama. The issue is I'm not going to invest. Georgia, lost to Georgia. Sorry, I don't follow college football all that closely. But when you have a quarterback that's, 25, 26 years old, really just getting his feet wet into the NFL, that's realistically not what I like, especially coming off a major knee injury. Let's go to Chris Smith. What up, Chris? Do we re-sign Josh Jacobs? I hope so. I know the rumors out there because everyone is showing that, okay, Derek Carr's jerseys are 50% off. Darren Waller's jerseys are 50% off. Jacobs are 50% off, and they are all 50% off at the Raider Image store. I believe if you're trying to convince your fan base that you want to win, you franchise tag him. Re-signing him, that's going to require you to give him an extension. I believe Jacobs is going to be looking for $13 million a year, 3 years. That's too much money for me for a running back that's had injury issues. If I was the Raiders, I would franchise tag him, which is going to be around $12.7 million. If Jacobs says, no, that's not good enough, trade me, well, then you're going to be able to trade Jacobs coming off a career year, and you get a second, maybe even a first-round pick for Jacobs. Let's go to Raider Jake 05. Mitch, which quarterback in the draft has the highest upside in the NFL? Oh, man. I mean, I love Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud might be the answer, but I'm going to go a little bit different here. I think Will Levis, his ability with his arm talent, and then also Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, like, they gave him the nickname The Freak. I mean, you want to talk about just overall athletic ability. Richardson has athletic ability weirdly close to me, and I'm going to throw out a name. He's like a hybrid of Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton from an athletic standpoint. He can't throw the ball nearly as well as Lamar. He does remind me a little bit, though, from a mechanical standpoint of Cam. But Will Levis, I mean, there's people who are like, oh, he looks like Josh Allen. I mean, he's got insane arm talent. Are either of these guys ready to start right away? No. But if you're asking me just straight up upside, I think it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. So let me know down in the comments, who's the better prospect? If you think it's Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky, type WL. If you think it's Richardson, type AR. My only question is this. Do you think McDaniels tries to draft another Florida quarterback? Because remember, he drafted Tim Tebow. That one didn't work out for him. Let's go to Javi. Tom Brady, fluke play, and Gannon would be dynasty, real one. I mean, no doubt it's a fluke play. I mean, when you watch the Charles Woodson Tom Brady documentary, Brady knows it's a fumble. Woodson, the amount of passion he speaks with in that, it sucks. That was in 2002, though. Again, you can be mad about it, but I do believe for people to grow as human beings, you do need to have to learn how to forgive or move on. I'm choosing to move on. Let's go to Arbor, 1992. Mitch, a perspective bought by Colin Cowherd yesterday on Brady coming to the Raiders. They have 8 picks and possibly 2 coming from a Carr trade. I mean, you also got to look at their comp picks because their comp picks haven't been settled yet either. So when you look at the comp picks, then you also think about a Carr trade. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like for the Raiders right now, they're a very intriguing team when you have the amount of cap space that they do, comp picks, overall draft picks. It's going to be one hell of an offseason, no doubt about it. And then we got some super thanks as well. These are the people who can't join us live, but when they watch a video that goes out after a live show, you can still support the channel, which Mac Brown, greatly appreciated that you took time out of your day to show some love to the Raiders Report. What'd you say? Not the former UT coach. Yeah, that we don't want that guy. But actually, Mac Brown though, he is coaching up Drake May, who big fan of. All right, remember y'all, if I missed your question, hit me up on IG. Join me over on Locals for another live show later in the week if you're watching this live. If you watch this on a later date, I did 2 live videos. Go check them out. And as always, for the most up-to-date Raiders news, at Mitchell Renz 365. If you can't find me on social media, it's a you problem. It's not a me problem. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's mailbag.